Okay, welcome back. So in this video, or video clips, I'm going to be taking on another step of this project to put a mini amp into a telecaster body. And so the first thing I'm going to do is just have a look at how it looks with everything, all the components in. So I've got the speakers in, and I've got the control panel, and then the battery goes in, and so it all fits in nicely, so I can see it's all fitting in. That's fine. The one thing that I've just got to address is the amount of room I need here, because it's some of these little controls like potentiometers just are sitting a little bit proud of everything else. So when I put this backboard on, I can just feel it rocking a little bit. So only a little bit. So I can't really make the whole panel go any lower, because it will start to interfere with the pots down here. So what I'm going to do is a little challenge here. I'm going to root out a little rectangle I'll put onto the backboard, the underside, and all of this is 2mm ply. I'm just going to try and root out a mil just to give myself a little bit more room for this control panel. So I'm going to go into my little workshop, and I'm going to start doing as little rooting as I can, just to make a little bit more room on the underside of this. Okay, so I'll show you in a second what I'm up to doing. Okay, here I am in my chilly shed. It's getting really chilly. I have to fix bikes in here, and I just get so cold in the winter. Oh, blimey. Anyway, I've got my router. I call them routers, but maybe you call them routers. What I'm going to do is try and set the depth of this cutter to 1mm, which is going to be tricky, because that's hardly anything, but it's worth a go. I've just got a funny feeling that this is one of those instances where you're trying to push your luck too much, but I'm going to give it a go. If it all goes a little bit wrong, then I'll just have to cut a new back plate. So I've got some more wood. I'm hoping it doesn't. Hey, I hope it doesn't go wrong, but I don't know. This might be a bad idea. I hope it isn't. So I've just set. There's hardly any of that cutter bit sticking up. Oh, I don't know. This could be silly. I'm going to go a little bit less. See if I can get it even less protruding. This could be a daft idea, but there we are. I'll give it a go. So let's see if I can get this even less than that. There you go. Woo! Right. Right, there's hardly anything on there. I don't know if you can see. It's just poking up. Get that nice and tight. Right, I've got the wood clamped, so it's not going anywhere. Here goes. Ooh, I hope this doesn't go wrong. Right, let's just plug this in. Alright, that's all plugged in. Gonna get my earphones on. Right, just make sure everything's nice and neat. Get the little chair. Oh, right, here goes. Wind my tea out of the way. Do. all going quite well. It hasn't gone through, but I just got to move the clamp because I haven't quite got enough room. It's better. So I'm just going to have to move these around a little bit. This is tricky. I'm going to just have to re-clamp it because I've got not enough room between the clamps and the router. Give me a sec. Right, and this is actually steam from my cup of tea, so it's not something on fire. Just in case you're wondering whether my workshop's on fire. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there, but that worked out pretty good. I'll just show you how that looks. Whew, that was lucky. Whee. So now I've cut out, and you can see that I've just routed out the back, but I'm not going to go any more than that because there's a real danger that I'll just go right through the wood. Okay, so I'm going to take that back up and just tidy it up a little bit of sandpaper, and I'll show you how that fits onto the guitar. All right, I'll just stop this video just for a sec. Okay, so that's my little routed panel, and I've just tried to arrange the wiring so that it will be as it will be in the when it's all put together, and when I put this onto here now, although I just got to tuck the wires in a little bit more, I think that's going to fit quite nicely now. So I'm going to start assembling. So I'm just going to get myself sorted a little bit here, and I'll start the video again. Okay, so the speakers are in the right place, and I've just popped them into the cavity so that I can just make sure they're sitting nicely in their little position, and I'm just going to fine tune that position so I've just got a nice place, and I'm going to just do a little pencil mark through the hole of the speakers where we're going to mount them. Keep the speaker still. So I've got four little dots there, and before I screw the speaker in, I'm going to get this, and I'm just going to make a start in the wood because this is a hard wood. This isn't a soft wood. I don't want to have to struggle too much to get these in. I want them to go in nicely, so I'm just going to give it a little start with my little straddle thingy midgerbly. So just going to give that a little entry. There we go. So that's good. Now I'm going to get my washers and my screws for the speaker. So I'm just going to use 4 of these screws. 1, 2, 3, 4 washers. 2, 3, 4. Just find my beeswax, which is somewhere here. Here we go. So before I put anything into the wood, I'm just going to run the screws along some beeswax just to help them go in nicely into the wood without doing any damage and going in smoothly. So that's a little bit of beeswax on these, and then I'll get this first speaker screwed in. So there we are. They're prepared. Find myself a nice screwdriver. Voila! Right, let's start this. I'm going to put the first screw in, I think. So let's find the right speaker. I've just got to make sure the wires don't get tangled. cord all in the way. Move that over there. There we go. Right, let's get this screwed in. So I'll just put the first one in. This is a bit tricky, to be quite honestly, because you've got to go right down into the cavity. So let's see if... Oh dear, hang on a minute, I've got to work out. I know what I'm going to do. No, not. Hang on a minute, I've got to work this out. Okay, slight problem there. That these screws are made of brass and not steel. So I was hoping that these magnetic screwdrivers would actually help me. So rather than using magnetism, I'm using beeswax. So just put a bit of beeswax on the tip of the crosshead screwdriver and then put the screw on there, and that's allowing me then to screw it in. I won't screw it all the way. I'm going to get the first one, get them all in first. So a bit of bit of beeswax on the end of the screwdriver, and that's probably old school kind of mucking about rather than using this modern fangled magnetism malarkey. Oh hello, hang on a minute. Ah, come here. Ah, bugger, drop me washer now. There we go. Right, let's try this again. So this is a bit of a fiddle. Okay, that's better. Ooh, funny how you get little problems and you got to think, well, how am I going to get over this little problem? Just think a bit more laterally, and then it should work out. No, bugger. Now the only problem is these washers. Come here, drop off. So a minute. I think I'll put a bit of put a beeswax on the washer to stick the washer to the screw, and then put beeswax on the screwdriver to stick it all together. Now it's probably people watching who think, hang on a minute, why don't you try this? And if you've got a better idea, please let me know. There we go. Right, so beeswax on the washer. Screw through. Beeswax on the screwdriver. Stick it all together. Oh, bugger. Drop the blinking washer again. This is a bit of a fiddle. Let's just try this one more. A bit more wax on the washer. Ugh. There we go. Ooh, only just. Right, now I've got them all in, I can tighten them all down. There we go. There we are. Right, phew! There we are, that speaker is now in. screwed in. So I'll just do the same thing for the other one, but I won't film that, won't put you through that torture. Yeah, if anyone's got any better ideas than putting beeswax on the end of the screwdriver to stick it onto the screw, please let me know. Right, I'm just going to do the other one and show you one of them. Okay, so the speakers are in. There we are, nicely screwed in, not going anywhere, and that's fine. Now the next thing is, just to show you that I've got the battery pack in, and I've just got that packed around with some foam, just so that's not going to move around, and it's set, you know, the chamber was routed out so that the battery is lower than the top surface, so that's fine, so that's not going to be pushed too hard or anything, which is good. So the next thing is to just put the control panel in here, so I just grab that and see how that fits. So I've done up all the pots with their little nuts on the end. I'm not sure whether to go for silver or the black. I'm not actually sure. So but the thing about the black ones is that they've got a little definite marker, a white marker, to see where you are, and these ones are much harder to see. So actually I think I'll go with black for now. So what we need to make sure is that they've all turned fully clockwise, and then I can just make sure then that the pot is, I mean, just all of the buttons oriented the same. Got two. Ooh. The last one, this far one, I put on after because I can't get it in because of the way the cutout is there. So I'll just put the last one on right at the end. But you have to get these ones in. There we are. So they're all lining up. Right. So this needs to go into this chamber here. I just got to be really careful with the wiring, because particularly these wires here that my brother soldered on to the output jack, the input jack, sorry, the mini amp, which is going to go to the output jack of the guitar. These are quite delicate wires, so I just got to make sure that I just carefully put them together. And what I might do actually is get some electrical tape and just tape these neatly, so that they're not going to just get all over the place. So let me just get some tape and just tape those a sec. Right, just move that one out to the way, and that one out of the way. So I've just tidied up these so they just go running as one, really, making sure they're okay. So now I'm just going to carefully, this is the bit where I'm just a bit worried, because everything now, I'll just be super careful not to damage anything, because it's taken so much time to get to this point. Right, let's. This is a bit nerve-wracking, this, because it's all a little bit delicate. Okay, that's all right. So now that's in. So the whole lot is in, and now I'm just going to fiddle around with these wires a little bit, just to make sure that they all can sit nicely. These wires here are the ones that are going to go to the output jack from the guitar, so that the pickups will go straight into this mini amp. So if I just try and feed these through to where they're going to be going, just put them through that little hole there. There we are, that's fine. That's worked out really well. So just put those into there, that's good. Woo! I can start connecting things up. So Let me just get my camera, my phone, because I've taken pictures of all the at the beginning of all of the connections. I'm just going to double check I've got them. There's a couple of options. Make sure I've got all the connectors going into the right plugs. Just give me a second. I'm going to get my phone up and get some pictures that I took at the beginning. Ooh-wee. Here we go. So this is the everything connected up. And now I've just got to play around a little bit with how I'm going to get these neat. So where I've got little roots and chambers and gullies and things, so I just need to work out how I'm going to get this neat. So I'm just going to do a little bit of fiddling around. So rather than filming it, I'll just show you when I've done it. I might get some electrical tape out and just start taping things into position so you can see exactly what it looks like when it's all neatened up. So give me a sec. Okay, so it's all looking a lot tidier. I've just a little bit of careful taping, and the last bit really that I've got to do for this little section is I've got to work out this panel here. So this is where the USB connects to. It's also got some extra inputs for auxiliary inputs, so I need to know where to put this on the backboard. So what I'm going to have to do is cut out some holes for these two inputs and the USB and the LED in the right place on here, so then it will sit in that plate. So what I'm going to have to do is make a little template so I can mark exactly the size of these holes I've got to make and the position. So I'm just going to do that, make a little mark on here where I want them to sit roughly, because I can move that around a little bit, and then I've got to make an accurate template so I can actually mark on exactly how big these holes have got to be. Right, I'll just do that. Okay, just show you how we're going to do this. This is the case. These are the holes that I've got to replicate. I've marked on here a line on where I want that to sit, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop this on top of there on that line and mark with pencil, nice sharp pencil, the position and the size of the little holes, and then I can get cracking on making them so that everything fits in. So let's just mark these. So just put that on the line. Actually, what I'm going to do is measure the middle of the line. Make my little ruler and make sure I start in the middle. I don't want to be off to one side. So let's have a look. 5 centimeters. That's the middle. Okay, I'm going to just make little marks now. Alrighty, let's have a look. Okay, can I just check this? Okay, so I've marked off my things I've got to cut out, and then what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to get a craft knife and an awl and just make these little holes. So I'm just going to be very careful, get a very sharp craft knife and just start cutting out where I need to be. Okay, I'll show you one of them. Right, okay, so this is the holes I've made to fit into the charging panel, if you like. So what I'm going to do next is attach the charging panel to this plate and then see if I can now get this panel nicely on and you know, fittings settling nicely, and then once that's happened I'm going to start making some marks where I think the little screws should be that are going to hold this onto the body. So to get the panel onto the board here, what I'm going to do is I've got a little screw hole here which was used to screw the panel into the original box. So what I can do now is offer this up so it all lines up, and then just get the screw hole, the screw lining up as well. There you go, and I just get my screwdriver and I can just start to screw this in, just so this is held in the right place. There we are. So just one little screw, and that's just going to hold it just so that it keeps its place. Actually, I might do one more. There's one more hole just here. Actually, let me see if I can get another one in as well, and that would be useful. So let's just see if I can poke. Just to have two screws. Just a minute, I just got, ooh, hang on. I need to get my bradawl out again. Ooh, this is all a little bit tight in terms of space, but yeah, it's a bit tight this. Where did that screw go? But hopefully, sorry you can't really see what I'm doing here, but hopefully I can just get this attached. Like that. So let's just get this other screw in. There we are. So now that is actually attached just by a couple of screws. And that's quite rigid. Okay, that's good. So that's all my control panel. So now it's just a question of tucking the wires in and routing them so they're just, nothing's catching. And then I can then start to work out where my screw holes are going to go. Right, so what I'm going to do now is just do a little bit of fiddling with the wires in here, because some of them are just a bit proud, and see how well I can get this to sit, and I'll show you when I've just got to do a bit of moving around of wires. Brilliant. So what I've got here now is I've got my position of the back plate where it sits really nicely where I want it. So what I'm going to do is, just so I get it right, I'm going to get my pencil and I'm going to just draw around this So when I come to do my holes, I'm going to put it in exactly the same place, because I can always, where the pencil marks are, I can always just clean those off, even if they're seen, and put some more varnish on. But I don't want to, once I've decided where the holes are going, I don't want to then have it all move. Right, so I'm going to hold this down, and now I'm going to decide where I'm going to put the screws. So I want to try and put them where they're going to hold key parts down. So I'm going to mark some little crosses. So I want one here, here, here. So that's and then one in between those two. Just there. I'm going to need one here. One here. Here, 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 and there. Right, so now I've marked where I want the screws to go. Just double checking I haven't done anything silly. That's fine. So the next step is to drill some little holes here all around, and I'm going to countersink them a little bit so that when the screws go in they just sit nice and flush. So what I need to do next is just disconnect this from here like so, and then I've got my markers on here, so I'm going to take this down, drill these out and countersink them as well. So I'm just going to go down to the shed and go and do that. Okay, so just ready to start drilling. There we are. Put that in. Bring that a bit. There we are. So I've got my little small drill. Make sure it's in the middle. So I'm going to start off by just drilling through. Right, now the next bit, going to keep that, I'll need that in a bit, is these little holes. Yeah, I've drilled away. Little holes that I've drilled. I'm now going to put a little bit of a countersink bit here. So I'm going to put that into the drill and just be very careful not to go too deep, because I don't want to make a big mess. I just want to do enough to just so that the screw head is just a bit down. So let's just do gently with this. Tiny bit more. Enough. So not much pull. Yeah, hardly, the screws are not that massive. There we are. So I've got some nice countersunk holes. So now I can carry on with my screwing of this down onto the body of the guitar. Well, I'll do that upstairs. So now just putting the screws in. I've got one screw in just here. Once I've got the second one in, it should all just sit nicely. So I'm going to put one in over here. Too big. Hang on, that's the wrong screw. Ah, come here. One over here. And then that should just hold everything nicely. And then I'm just going to continue around, getting all these screws in. Looking good. I'm quite excited actually. This is all taking shape. It's looking nice. Right, let's get this one in. Hopefully it's all going to work. Right. I've got enough screws left. I think I have. Okay, 2 more to go, and we'll just see what it all looks like. There we go, last one. Woo! Ah! Give me here. There. Right. Woohoo! So this is everything in. That's the. Hang on, I'll just bring it up a little bit. So that's the new back panel. That's a control. And that's the front. So on the front you can't see anything, but that's all the controllers. And this is where you charge it up. And just to check this, what I'm going to do, I've got my USB-C plug. There you go. You see the little light there. There you go. That's charging up. So that's great. So that's working. Whew. So there we are. So that's the guts of the job done, really. So that's the amplifier in, and that's what it looks like. I've just got to put another last little. Okay, I think I got a bit cut off from that last little clip, but anyway, just to finish off, I've put all the little knobs onto the pots. I've just screwed down the panel a little bit more because there's a little bit of a gap, and that's now looking good. So I'll stop this little clip now because I've covered lots of ground. Sorry, it's quite a long one again, but that's how it's looking. So it's looking nice. So the next one, it's where I'm going to start to just build the guitar back up together. So I'm going to solder on these last 2 little wires onto the output jack of the guitar. And then I'm going to put everything back in, put all the pickups in, and the bridge, and saddles, volume and tone control, reattach the neck, and then put some new strings on it, and then give it a test and see what it sounds like. So thanks for coming along on the journey, and yeah, see you in the next one.